What's up, y'all? So bringing you the part 2 of my Scotland trip, and I might have to selfishly say this is probably going to be my favorite video that I do, but you'll have to watch them all and let me know for yourself. But this one is probably going to be the most throwing and stone lifting together in one video. So this is only 2 days. So this is going to be Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd. So Saturday the 2nd, and kind of how we did things, I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit if you watched the first video, is so we stayed in basically just south of Inverness, which is in kind of the top middle part of Scotland, the country. And so we stayed in a central spot and drove out and back every day to everything we did. Some people will go and go stay here for 2 days, go to this one, stay here for traveling to the different competitions. For everything we wanted to do and kind of looked up, we figured just staying in one and going out and back is a little bit more driving, but also gets you to explore a little bit more. So Friday we had gone up to Dornoch, which is kind of up to the northwest-ish area, come back to Inverness. So this is Saturday. We're going to Aboyne, which is towards the east in the Highlands, obviously in the top part of the country. And then, so this gets me Aboyne, which we're going to have a little bit of the Denny Stone stuff in the beginning. And then Sunday, I go to the Bridge of Allengames. So have about a 2+ hour drive down and back. So that one's down towards the southern part of the country, down in just outside of Stirling and Edinburgh. So a little bit more details if you want to pull up a map and kind of see what that's like. But this is building on Highland Games and stone lifting day after day after day. I'll talk about that a little bit with maybe some of my performances and what we got. So like I said, selfishly, probably my favorite part of the trip was this kind of 2-day stint, but we'll see what the rest brings to you. So let's get into it. So I got lucky to be able to attempt the Denny Stones. And so probably going to have noisy in the background, but here I am, my first attempt. Brett Nickel was there, told me, hey, make sure you're smiling. And once I picked them up, I said, we'll hold them for maybe 10-ish seconds or so. The one thing is, I felt fine holding them. I just didn't want to continue to maybe tear my skin. It was awesome to lift them in front of Jack Shanks and Jan Todd there in the background. Jack was the third person ever recorded to lift them, and Jan was the first woman ever to. Thanks to Stevie for setting this up and giving me opportunity. Here I am with all of them as well. And just a cool environment. There was a lot more people there than I expected, which was really cool to see the community growing. They brought this to the Aboyne game, so I was able to do it in the morning. And this is not far from the Potarch Bridge where the Denny Stones originated. So that happened on Saturday morning. So it was kind of show up, kind of figure out how to warm up and get ready to go. And then we started throwing in the afternoon. So to say I was a little cooked going into throwing is definitely true. And of course, the guys were goofing around. I had to share the pictures with you. Fun group that day. Fun group, competitive group. So it was a fun day. Every day was really fun, and I've loved doing the sport. Now, on the Denny Stones, what you did see was I pulled them a second time side by side. I figured why not since I had the opportunity. And now I'm like, should I have walked with them? But I did have some throwing to do. So let's get into the throwing. We can talk more about stones and Denny Stones later, maybe in a long form video. I got some Q&A stuff that I kind of might put out. This was, we start with hammers, so light then heavy, decent, and then stones. So one thing I've noticed is the stones here were very large. They're actual stones, not shot puts. What was cool here is they said a lot of these implements have been used a very long time. And so you know that I struggled to tuck if you follow my stuff. Anything Braemar and even moving was tough, so I went ahead and just went to a stand throw because you were allowed to move there with the heavy putts. So they're Braemar, you can spin, glide, shuffle, whatever. It's just a light and heavy version. So everything was pretty normal through this part of the day for me, nothing too earth-shattering. Like I said, definitely could tell I was fatigued. My low back was pretty shot after the second Denny attempt. Lightweight. And I've watched this back, and now that I've watched back my technique and some stuff, I can see where I was missing some stuff and some throws and things I could do differently. And I was honestly trying to watch and learn a lot. The Scots have done this a long time, so those guys have some different technique stuff that they do, and I was really trying to watch that stuff. I was actually pretty happy with the heavyweight, how it felt. I think I added distance each time, and I don't really remember any of the distances, but I know I could watch this, and I saw that I sped up. So I felt good, and like I said, hardly looked at any distances I went with on any of this trip because it kind of seemed like it was pretty quick and going off of placings. more so than like what was your actual distance. But that throw right there, I actually felt really good about that heavyweight throw. And this is where I honestly, that one I was just started to lose the caber, but I thought I'd be able to turn this caber from the length and weight and everything. I was confident, and I think this goes to show just fatigue setting in. But I was pretty confident I was going to get a turn on this caber, so that's a little frustrating. Might have to say this might have been the most frustration part of the trip. Was my performance in this one event in this caber. That would have to maybe be it. And or I just never threw weight over bar that great. With the knockoff bars. So we're about to get into weight over bar with the knockoff bars. This was actually my best performance on the trip. This implement wasn't too bad. It was kind of a little bit longer, but I cleared 14.3, which is technically a season PR. And then we see a lot of breaks at 15 feet or whatever the heck it was. I think it was 15 feet, knocking it off. So, I mean, happy with that. I don't know what, maybe this is 14. Nope, I guess that was all 15 or 15.3. And here's the guys, and obviously Kyle felt like he needed to get a pump in, so that's what I added this series of pictures before we took another one. But fun group of Scots that were competitive. They were the guys that were beating me up and down the field half the time. And so we move into Sunday. So drove back after a Boyne, and then this is Sunday on the way to the next games. I stopped and hit 3 stones. This is the Newtonmore stone, and then the Dalwhinnie stone, and the Saddle and Mare stone. All are on the lighter end of 220 or below-ish, I believe. I think if I have that right. And pretty easy access for all of them as long as you... And it was kind of on our route. It was a little bit longer drive by going by the stones versus staying on the main highway. So kind of cool. Nothing too crazy, but, I mean, we do have to talk about adding fatigue. So this day, got into the Bridge of Allen games and some crazy implements here. So the hammers, I think they said were heavy. If I'm not correct, I don't remember 100%. And that stone I was trying to be very careful with this stone, getting it up there and not banging it up there. As you need to be careful with all the stones. I was trying to figure out how I want to take a picture. I don't want to show that I'm holding it up there. But let's see. Actually, we started with puts on this day, or putts, whatever they put it. And this one was filled hammerheads again. Once again, I feel like I never really connected. Honestly, I want to say maybe a little bit of just like the distraction of there's Kyle. Kyle wants the shout out. So does Sinclair. The guys like the videos and love messing around with it. But I feel like I never really connected. I honestly feel like I could say it was maybe, and this is the 22 here. I ain't spinning with it. I couldn't keep it tucked that well. In terms of like it was coming off my fingers if I spun funny. And then this weight is the wob weight as well. It's a 58-pound weight, they said, with a real short little fat handle. Sucked to throw, honestly, beat up the hand. Felt okay with it, though, because I do practice short chain often. And then with this, though, like, I think I was more like in the moment and like didn't care about my numbers and didn't care about like really competing, but just like enjoying the moment of being over there throwing. It was funny, like I just didn't really care about it. Obviously I'm trying and I want to throw far and have fun with that, but it was like I just think I focused on existing and doing it and being in that moment. And just being in the different places and being in Scotland. Not trying to find an excuse, but also that hammer released horribly. But like I said, I had a really bad time releasing hammers. No excuse. Ground was good. Just out of practice. I don't know. I keep talking about out of practice. And now, let's move into caber. And as this video is trudging along, this was a beast of a caber. A very heavy caber to attempt. They said one of the top 3 heaviest or something like that. But yeah, it was a beast of a caber. And I come up, I lay one down. I don't think I have video from all of them. I think the next one's the one I lay down. And look, it's the pro move, quote unquote. It's the more experienced move that I was losing the hammer or losing the caber, and it got away from me, and I wasn't going to turn it. I don't want to risk breaking it, so I just laid it down. It's the smart move. It's going to be respected by the ADs and all your athletes. So here we are, that crappy wob weight. No one throws it high. Even my man Vlad's struggling to not throw this super duper high. But it's what they use at that game. So, and then we get some more shenanigans in the next video. But this was a fun group. Got to throw with Aaron Castle. Hadn't seen him in quite some time since he moved over there. So fun to connect. He was a reason that I did make it over to this games. He told me he was going to be there, so convinced the wife to make it happen. And met Craig Winslow at this games as well. Through with Vlad, through with Kyle. And Riley was there from the U.S., so a couple getting the U.S. guys in the mix. So on the way home, wanted to go look for the Wallace pudding stone, but it did not exist. I found out it was broken, but here is the Sheriff Muir stones in its place. This stone was 360 some odd pounds, and that is a huge PR. I've never picked one up like that. I've never picked up one over 310. So 360 to the lap, and then I started cramping. So if you think about this Denny's yesterday or the day before, plus competing, 3 stones in the morning, competing all day, I was beat by this point. And actually stone number 4 right here, well, this is I call this the big one I didn't count. And that's the original plinth there in the middle. And so we had the 5 around the outside. The 4th one here, not this one, but the next one. I was going to press this, got tired. But the next one is very gritty. It was one of the hardest stones I actually did the whole trip was this next stone. Not this one, but the very next one. It just gripped my shirt really well and made it hard to slide up to the shoulder. Weight-wise, not that big, but it was, see right here, it was like really grabbing my shirt. I couldn't get it back there. It's just like a weird gritty. It was the only one that I did that was really that bad. But those were in the Wallace Stone spot. And then after this, drove and went a little out of the way to one of my favorites is the Castle Minzy stone, 115 kilo smooth stone right in front of a castle. Awesome little spot, man. It was cool as hell. And then we went and finished with the Fiona stone, which is going to finish this video. The Fiona stone is Dr. Bill Crawford's favorite from what I've seen in the Rogue Stoneland documentary. And so that ended a long 2 days, really 3 days in a row of stones and competing. So happy to be able to push myself and do this crazy stuff and be successful. This stone that got me a little bit there on the stand-up, didn't think it was going to feel as heavy. But look at this backdrop. Can you imagine? And even the background in some of these photos from all these others, it's just beautiful there. So I encourage you to go try do this, do some stone lifting, do a stone tour, find them, learn them, and go do that stuff. But awesome couple of days, man. That first weekend in Scotland, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just freaking sweet. And this is the Fiona to finish out, 127, so right at 280 pounds. So yeah, that's going to be this video. I've really enjoyed this trip so far, so excited to bring you guys more of the footage and maybe more pictures. Got to get some from the wife's phone. There it is. That's it, y'all. Thanks. Subscribe if you haven't. See ya.